We are live on Facebook. Hello, everybody. Facebook friends and family. It's time for Saturday Night Alive. Hey, everybody. I'm Love Coach Scott Catamas, and it is Saturday Night Live for the Global Peace Tribe with a really special show. It's our Global Coherence Pulse show put together by Teresa Collins, who's going to be hosting. But for those of you watching on Facebook, I want to remind all of you, come join us in the Zoom room. We've got 150 people in the Zoom room with us, and we know it's always going to grow. It usually gets up to 300 or 400 people. And what's wonderful about coming into the Zoom room with us is it gives you a chance to more directly communicate and connect with us. Plus, we get your email address. Now, we're only going to use your email address to let you know about special things like the replay. Because every Monday, Deborah sends out a replay, and it's got not just the replay of tonight's show, but it's got the replay of all of our previous shows. And we've done a lot, over 30 shows, featuring all sorts of amazing speakers and musicians. We also let you know about special announcements and provide you with special gifts. It's easy. Just right now, all of you watching on Facebook, go to globalpeacetribe.com and register. It takes about 30 seconds. And once you register, then you can easily come into our Zoom room. So again, really want to encourage all of you watching on Facebook, go to globalpeacetribe.com and register. And of course, that goes for anybody who's watching the video replay. You know, we're reaching tens of thousands of people with this show. And we've learned that about 25% of you are watching the video replay. So even then, you can still join globalpeacetribe.com. And that's a wonderful way to become part of our ever-growing family. Also want to invite those of you that are watching live on Facebook, start a watch party. It's really, really fun. You know how to do it. Just click share. It'll give you a menu of options and start a watch party. And that's a wonderful way to grow our family. And I do want to appreciate all the different broadcast partners. We've got about a dozen broadcast partners that are sharing this out. And thank you to all of you. Please, 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 if you're watching this on Unify, thank you. Start putting comments in there. And you can be hearing from Deborah and our presenters. It's a really exciting show. So with no further ado, I get to turn it over to my producing partner, the magnificent Deborah Giusti.
Thank you, Scott, and welcome everyone to tonight's show, which again is going to be an amazing show. This is our 33rd show since the lockdown, and it's our 8th show of the new season. And we have 5 more shows for you, and we are in process of creating a winter season of new shows from January through March. So we're so happy to have you join us. And again, this is going to be a very special show with a theme, Reimagine and Take Action, shifting from a world fed by fear to a world led by love. And this is a really important theme for our times, and something very similar to a theme we've carried through all our shows. But for this show, we're really happy to collaborate with Teresa Collins of Global Coherence Pulse. And we will be bringing you evolutionary thought leaders and artists who are leading with love to inspire us and reimagine what's possible and actively participate in co-creating a future equal to our vast potential. And I'm going to introduce to you now these incredible presenters and artists who are going to share with you tonight. First of all, I want to honor and present Teresa Collins. She is the founder of Global Coherence Pulse, and she brings over 20 years of innovation in online education, community development, whole system strategic design to projects. And she loves collecting community, and she helped co-create this show. And we have Jess Magic, who's a speaker and social entrepreneur. She uses her voice and charismatic presence to break down barriers between audience and artist. Also, we have Pete Longworth. Pete is an amazing being, and from festival stages to photo shoots, presentations, art installations, he is passionate about enlivening perspective and inviting you to see the world and yourself differently. We have Paulette Pipe. She's a gifted meditation teacher, beloved host of Touching the Stillness podcast for meditation, mindfulness, and spiritual practice. We're also going to have Luke Cohen, who's well known for shaping a new planetary culture and collective transition. Through his TEDx-style talks, he weaves stories, spoken word, and potent context for global transition. We have Peter Opperman. He's a German engineer turned esteemed meditation teacher, and he's the founder of Future Self Method and a life coach. We have Amalia Grace, who's a natural born artist of consciousness and explorer of the human psyche. And as always, we have incredible musicians. We're going to have Jess Magic again as a musician. We will have Entheo. Theo and Alma are a dynamic musical duo offering many styles of music, including acoustic, electronic, ambient. We have Mattia Celeste. She's a singer-songwriter, performer, professional background vocalist whose love and gift of singing has placed her on stages all around the world. And we have Kristen Hoffman. She's a Juilliard-trained singer, songwriter, musician, extraordinary artist who's really going to bring through some amazing music. We will also have Chiraya Dharma. She is doing a New Earth Ranch. She's an author, artist, poet, helping us to imagine our way into harmonious New Earth realities. And we have meditation with Alexis Bay. He's an author, musician, and will lead our meditation for this evening. And he's working on a graphic novel called Entanglement. And as always, we use this opportunity to use the power of community to give some magic and green love to those organizations that are helping us. And what we've been doing lately is helping fire victims that have been severely compromised with the fires that have happened on the West Coast in California. So we have 2 fire victims that we'd really love for your donations to come in for. One is Redwood DeWitt, and the other one is Courtney Wash. And we are going to share more about their stories later and post their specific links of their GoFundMe in the chat room and on the Facebook with Unify and Love Coach Academy so that you can donate directly to them. So thank you so much for joining us. And right now I'm going to turn the show over to Teresa Collins. She is going to be our host, and she is the master creator of this show. She is the co-founder of Global Coherence Pulse, which began like Saturday Night Live right after the lockdown, and it's been happening monthly, and it also happened today. Teresa, like Saturday Night Live, responded to a need in the collective and an opportunity to use these times towards positive transformation and evolution and working together in high collaboration. So we have been working together before, and these are the times to work in high collaboration and come together. So she has been a natural leader, an inspiring voice and guide, and we're so happy to have her with us. She's going to share more about the amazing theme and introduce our presenters. So Teresa, thank you so much for co-creating this event with us. And I'd like to turn over the show to you now. Thank you.
Thank you, Deborah. Well, first I just want to start by saying what a pleasure it's been to work with Scott and Deborah and Chiraya and Lindsay. And I really have to say they have created such a professional team and a process. There's a lot that goes into creating shows like this and making sure that everybody gets what they need. And it's really been a real blessing, you guys. You're doing such a fantastic job. And as I was saying in the pre-show, we both have been doing this now for 9 months. So we've been gestating something and we've been growing something, and it's been taking all of us. It's like, I imagine we probably all feel pretty pregnant right now with everything that we've been going through. And so this is a really wonderful moment, I think, in both of our opportunities for bringing people together to experience more heart-centered coherence, to get informed and inspired, to have a moment of rest in what's going on in the world. So I just want to say I love you guys. Thank you so much for all you're doing. I'm so excited that Saturday Night Live is going to continue, and let's keep collaborating together. So I'm going to introduce the theme for tonight just really quickly, and I'm going to share my screen, and I'm just going to bring up a couple of images that really reflect. Can you guys see my images? Okay.
Yes, we can. They look great.
This is a really iconic image for the Global Coherence Pulse, but it actually is very perfectly aligned with our theme for tonight, which is shifting from a world fed by fear to a world led by love. And this image reflects that. It's actually right at the core of every single human being. The shift of our vibrational frequency, the quality of our presence, from a story that says we're disconnected and so we don't feel safe, so that somebody somehow has to lose, to coming into a new story, blossoming in the center of our sweethearts, that we are actually all connected, and that when we take a moment to pause and center ourselves in our natural state of coherence, that we are feeding the field with love, and that we are leading from that place inside of ourselves. So that is the theme for tonight, shifting from a world fed by fear to a world led by love, and reimagining our story and taking action to co-create this new world that's led by love. And we start every single one of our pulses. And so I wanted to start our offering today in heart-centered coherence. And I just want to invite everybody that's come on tonight, stay with us. Let tonight be nourishing for your soul. Let it bring you deeper into the center of your own heart so that you begin to feel the natural resonance of your unique gift, your song, your note, because that's what the world needs most from you. And the more that we can tune into that, especially when we're feeling out of coherence, the moment that we can return to it, then we're feeding the field with the energy that is going to help us manifest our unique contribution and be a positive impact in the world. And there's just 3 simple steps. And the first is heart-centered coherence. So if you just place your hands on your heart and you bring your awareness to this aliveness at the heart of the stillness in the center of your being. And the second step is heart-centered breathing, which just means that with our attention and our heart, we feel our breath moving in and out of this one point. And as we slow our breath down just a little bit, it signals to our entire nervous system that we're safe. And no matter what is going on in your life right now, let this next 3 hours bring you more love and coherence and support for whatever you're going through. And I like to feel the bottom of my feet because that's when I really leave my mind and can really feel my connection to the earth and my heartbeat and her heartbeat. And the last step in the process is a heart-centered feeling. We're the only species on the planet that can evoke a feeling that is unrelated to an outside circumstance. So in a moment of us feeling fear, we can stop and choose compassion or care or love. So in this moment, I'd like us to evoke a field of gratitude. Gratitude for this life. Gratitude for communities like this where we can come together and saturate in a field that allows us to go deeper or wider than we could on our own. And we can just send a wave of this gratitude to everybody who's listening right now, to everyone who will be listening to this in a new moment right now. And we start this session from this place because a thriving world is an inside job. We're going to get from a world fed by fear to a world led by love by starting right here inside our own hearts. So I have brought together a group of evolutionary thought leaders and artists, all people that I feel and I see are leading with love. They're creating organizations, initiatives, they're creating their music and their art, all with that in mind. And we're all authentically humble about what that takes, because it's not just a nice idea. It's actually something that we're facing every moment of every day to choose. So I want to start this session, and I'm inviting all of our artists and all of our presenters. This is our session together tonight. We're going to co-create it as we hand it off to each other. We're each going to bring our presence forward, and you in the audience and all of us here is we're creating something powerful together. And that's the embodied reimagining of a life where we know that we're all connected and that we lead from love. So the first person that I want to spotlight is Mattia Celeste. And oh my God, you're gorgeous tonight. Oh, I'm just looking at you is making my heart go crazy.
Oh, thank you so much, Teresa.
True introduced you this morning as we were leaving the whole session to let us know that you were here.
Yes.
And I am just so blessed that we get to have you open our hearts in the very beginning to sing for us. And Celeste is from Brooklyn. You are from a musical family, and you have, I think, been singing since the moment that the sperm and the egg came together. I think it started there. So I'm going to turn it over to you, my beautiful, beautiful sister.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Teresa. Thank you for everything. Thank you for showing compassion and spreading your light. And also Chess Magic. Thank you so much. And my brother, True Osborne. I am grateful. I'm humbled to have this platform to be able to share just a bit of my gift. I think that it's really important for us to lead with love, lead with understanding. We need love. We're reclaiming our time. We're reclaiming our heart. reclaiming our mind, reclaiming our soul. Oh, fill us with love. Fill us with hope. Mm-hmm. Open our minds, open our understanding. Give us wisdom so we can face another day, so we can love one another more. I want to love my brother more. I need to love my sisters more. I need to love myself a little more. Help us love ourselves a little bit more. Reach down in your soul. Remove fear and doubt. Show the world what it's already about. It's about love, 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 love. Give us love. Give us peace. Give us joy. Tap into what you have. Stir up the gift inside of you. Stir it up, stir it up, stir it up. It's already inside of you. It's already there. It's already inside of you. It's already there. We free doubt from you right now. I'm speaking to what you're afraid of. You have no power here. You have no control here. You have no power here. Yeah. Ooh, you're free today. You're free today. You are free today. You're free, 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 you're free. Ooh. Choose freedom today. You are free. You are free. No longer bound. Thank you. Thank you, Queen. Thank you. Many blessings to you.
Thank you, Mattia, for blessing us with your beautiful presence tonight. We're going to have more of you. We're going to keep bringing you back. We want you to come on a pulse with us. Let's keep bringing you in, sister. Thank you for your light. Thank you.
Precious. Thank you.
Yeah. Mattia was a special little gift that we got to add to our show tonight. Beautiful. Well, next we're going to Miss Jet's Magic. Let's just spotlight her video right now. Jess is the, looks like there we go. Hi, Mama. Jess was our inspiration really for the Oops, we're getting an echo. Jess was the inspiration for Reimagine and Take Action and shifting from a world fed by fear to a world led by love. This is the tagline. This is the ethos. This is the vision of the Reimagine the 1%, which was our featured organization today. And Jess is one of the main founders and teammates of that group that's birthing this new song. And she's also a featured artist for us tonight. And Jess, I just want to say thank you for this morning. It was so beautiful to do the pulse with you. And we just get to continue on tonight. We just get to keep opening and being really authentic about the challenging moment that we're in and this choice that we just keep getting to make together. And Jess is one of the most authentic women of being able to really speak about that I've get a chance to have as my dear sister and friend. So thank you, Jess, and welcome to the show. And please share your love and artistry with us.
Thank you, love. Can you hear me okay? Yeah? Amazing. I set up my own Zoom recorder today for the first time, which was very empowering. Sister got to know how to do her own sound. Well, I thought we were going to show the artistry video, but do we want to show that, Teresa?
I didn't have that one spun up.
Got it. Okay, no problem. So, first of all, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for having me here. Thank you to all of the amazing community that came out today and tonight for this. And thank you, Mattia, for kicking us off. It always feels so good to just be in my body and feel somebody that is offering a genuine prayer around living from love. My mission has always been pretty clear to me. I've always been a pretty purpose-centered person. But there was a moment in my life where my heart broke in a way that I was like, it was like almost like I called it in, a deep heartbreak. And in the midst of that heartbreak, I needed a place to channel all of my emotions and all my energy. And I don't know if you guys have ever had this experience or not, but it was almost like spirit, life, the universe was like, this is your moment right now. This is a deciding point in your life. And you can either keep staying busy and bypassing, or you can actually go down to the depth of your grief, the depth of your shadow, the depth of your shame, and see what you're really made of and see what's there. And I went down, and it was like this journey of turning over every stone to see what had me show up in this way that caused so much pain for myself and the person that I was in relationship with. And in that, it was like a dam broke, and all this emotion that had been stored up, bottled up, numbed down, stuffed in, wrapped up in a ball, came flooding out, and I needed a channel for it. And I feel like music found me. And I wasn't somebody that particularly thought I had a very good voice. I have vocal nodes. I have all these, these reasons why I shouldn't sing. But it was like music came to me and was like, use me as your vehicle, as your channel for this. And as I started freestyling and I started just allowing my heart to pour out, and I imagine that what Mattia just did was a freestyle. She put on this beat and just like felt the moment and let herself just channel that. I started doing that and realizing that that was the most authentic vehicle for my expression, was like that art from the heart. And while I didn't feel like I had the technique to call myself an artist or the skill to call myself an artist, I was like, but I can call myself a artist. I am a artist. I'm somebody, I know how when this expression comes out, it's coming from love and it's coming from emotion, it's coming from realness. And ever since then, it's like I've been able to track other artists all around the world. I've started meeting and resonating with other artists and aggregating these people who are living and creating from love and leading from love and finding that authentic channel. So that's what artistry is. And this movement that's been rising of Rise of the Artist has been this movement of uplifting the storytellers of our time that know how to live and lead and create from love and give us that very authentic, very raw, very real reference point. Luke Cohen is a artist. You're going to be hearing from him later. Pete Longworth is a artist. I can already feel Paulette. Like, I mean, True, who introduced Mattia and I as a artist. Like, it's like, you know, there's a certain quality. And there's also certain celebrities that are out there in the world that we can feel as artists. Like, I think of Alicia Keys and India Arie in the music industry as artists. Like, it's like there's something that's so raw and real about those women when they come. It's not just a performance. It's not, it's like you feel they're not just like puppets of a system. They're like coming forward with something real. So my invitation tonight as we go on this journey, yes, I see it in the chat. It's like, I'm a artist. Claim it. Like, it's like, if you know you're that, it's like when I'm sharing about this, you can find yourself in it. And I like to say it's not about a vocation, it's about a vibration. So there can be technologists that are artists, and there can be entrepreneurs that are artists, and there can be mothers and fathers that are artists, and the way that they are making lunch for their children with just the right amount of mayo and mustard, and like, you know, they're just like, I'm just gonna make this so good. And they're artists, you know, they're like, because they're just in it all the way. And artistry is also about presence. And I offer this prayer of presence as we also dive into what is it that can actually help us shift from a world fed by fear to a world led by love. Because presence is a way to meet this conditioning, meet these stories that come from the external, these ideas that come from our past, these certain ways that we've been raised to get real in the moment. And then the presence allows us to actually feel what's in our heart. Teresa brought it forward in this global coherence invocation in the beginning about the feeling, the heart-centered feeling. And our bodies are instruments. Our bodies and our hearts and our senses allow us to be instruments of the moment, of the immediacy. And so there's also something about artistry that commands a level of presence, because as we're expressing from our place of artistry, as we're creating from that, we can't be in the past or in the future. It commands a level of presence that it's where our authenticity resides from. So yes, speaking from your soul, I'm a budding artist. Yes, it's I feel that in this journey of entering this new paradigm, this new way, we need new archetypes. So the artist is also a new archetype. It's a reference point. And when we start to identify ourselves and each other as artists, they're like these reference points that can actually help usher in this shift. Artists shape culture. They've shaped culture through history. Artists were the ones that shifted us from the Dark Ages into the Renaissance. And the innovators and the scientists and the ones that were coming from a new place, that were saying, this isn't okay. This energy, this era, this way we've been living is oppressive. And we are done. We're complete with the oppression. It's time for a movement of liberation. And we're in a moment right now where we are truly shifting out of victim consciousness to, I like to call it, to the liberated lover. Not just liberation, but the liberated lover. And that's someone who remembers how to be love, remembers how to be in love with life, remembers how to love themselves. And so I want to offer this as this idea of the artists being the storytellers of our time that help us tell a new story. And I want to offer this question to you all today of, what is your responsibility in terms of the stories that you consume, the stories that you imbibe in, the news media, the social media, the stories you follow, the politics? What is your responsibility in that, in terms of being present to the feeling that happens in you as you put your attention into these stories? And what would be possible for you if you consciously and intentionally choose the stories that you are consuming, absorbing, paying attention to, giving this precious gift of your time and energy? What if you took full responsibility for the feeling that you wanted to have as you were consuming these stories, the way that we know that food, we're responsible for choosing the food that we put in our bodies and the impact that our food has on our bodies and the quality of our water. What if we took the stories we consume with that level of care, that level of seriousness? Because our energy is worth it. Our presence, our quality of presence, our quality of life, and what we create from that quality of presence is worth it. So I want to take a breath there. And I love this. We are all artists. Yes, yes, yes. So I want to offer a song. And the song that I feel to offer is different than the song I thought I was going to offer. The song I want to offer was actually inspired by Mattia and where she started going, because where she started going at the end of her transmission was she was casting off patterns. She was casting off the patterns of fear. She was casting off the patterns of oppression. And we can do that with our voice. We can do that with our prayers. We can do that with our songs. And I'm going to feed you the lyrics of this song so that you can sing it. And I wish that we had the technology where we could all be singing. I could hear all your voices. But I know that I can count on Entheo to be singing out there. And I know that I can count on a lot of you, and Luke and Mattia, and like to be singing along. And I really want to invite you, regardless of whether you think you have a good voice or not, I want you to sing along with me, because there's power in the voice. There's power when you put intentionality and soul and heart into your voice. And when we align our mind with our heart, with our body, with our voice, we create congruence, which is connected to coherence. And when we bring our voice forward from a place of congruence, everything all being aligned, that's when we are the most true, the most powerful, the most effective. And I'm sure that Nassim and some of the other people that have been on this show have already talked to you all about the science behind that. But I'm not going to go into the science, I'm just going to go into the song. This song is called This Is My Life. And this song came through as the riots were first breaking out in the US. I was in Bali, watching it, feeling it deeply. And I felt how we're in a moment right now of getting so real with ourselves, getting so real with where we have been in a state of cultural denial. And denial is actually the first phase of the grieving process. And it's what happens before we have the get real moments where the anger and the grief start to come out. And after the anger and the grief come out, that's when we can start to come into a place of acceptance of what is. And after we come into a state of acceptance, then we can come into a place of forgiveness. Forgiving ourselves, forgiving each other, and then we can come into a place of compassion. And at some point after we have come into a place of compassion, we sometimes enter a place of true gratitude for the path, for the journey, whatever that's looked like. This song is about reclaiming our power, reclaiming our sovereignty, and reclaiming the parts of ourselves, the parts of our wholeness that are ours and that no one can take away from us, no matter what. So I'll feed you the lyrics so you can sing along. This is my life, and I'm gonna choose it. And I'm gonna choose it. This is my time. This is my time. my grace away. This is my love. This is my love, and I'm not gonna lose it. And I'm not gonna lose it. This is my freedom. This is my freedom, and I won't abuse it. And I won't abuse it. Nobody can take. Nobody can take my spirit away. My spirit away. Nobody can take. Nobody can take my spirit away. So I want to offer you this little chant that we can sing together. That's the Om Mani Padme Hum. And this is a chant for compassion. And I want to invite, as we sing this together, you to find something in your life that you could offer your compassion to, whether it's your own inner child who doesn't get enough of your time and attention, or whether it is people who are feeling incredibly victimized by the system right now that so many of us have been stuck in. And feel free to chime in the chat with whatever it is that you want to offer your compassion to, and we'll chant together for a few moments. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Ah, ah, Om Mani Padme Hum. Ah, Om Brother True behind me, and Sister Mattia and Elijah Ray, and we're singing as a gospel choir right now in harmony, 3-part harmony, and that we're rapping this chant all over the world, and that people all over the world are waking up to use their voice to sing in harmony with each other. So we'll sing it one more time, imagining that. Oh. This is you as I wrap up this song. If there's something alive inside of you that you're like, yeah, nobody can take that. Nobody can take my presence. Nobody can take my purpose away. Nobody can take my laughter away. I'd love to see it in the chat here so that we can sing it to you. Nobody can take my fire away. What is it that you want to have sung, that you want to have remembered, reclaimed? Nobody can take joy from Gigi. My joy away from Theo, my creativity. Nobody can take my creativity away. My creativity away. My passion, yes. Nobody can take. I hope y'all are singing with me. My passion away, my peace away. Nobody can take my peace. Oh, my peace away. My goodness. Nobody can take all my goodness away. My truth will end with truth and spirit. Nobody can take my truth away. My truth away. My truth is mine. Nobody can take my spirit. My spirit away. Divinity, I see you. Nobody can take my divinity away. Nobody can take my spirit away.
Thank you so much. Jess Magic. I want to share a quick slide. You might need to mute, Jess. There's a link in the chat to Jess Magic's website and what is artistry, and there's a beautiful video there that talks about artistry, and I think it's such an important archetype that you're bringing in, and you could see in the chat we're all artists. We're all artists, and it's the perfect lead in to our next artist, because the video that you'll see there came from our next guest, Pete Longworth. If we spotlight his video, please. And Pete, I'm not going to read. Can we spotlight Pete's video? I'll do it. There we go. There's Pete. I love Pete coming in black and white, of course, perfectly aligned. Pete is Just Magic, also part of the Reimagine the 1% crew. And Pete is somebody that I met over a year and a half ago. And the moment I met him, I knew that he was the one person who could come to our event and bring out the essence of what our storytellers had to say that was most important. And Pete, I fell in love with you that day. And I'm really excited that you're here today and that you were excited about coming on and sharing your light with us. So I'm turning it over to you.
Well, thank you very much, Teresa. It's such a treat to be here, and to share my artistry, which is really telling the story of the storytellers in the most captivating ways possible. And this is a really interesting time as a storyteller, because there's never been a more potent time for all of us to share meaningful messages, because it is true that we are being told and sold stories that can funnel us towards fear. But it's also true that we have the capacity to tell ourselves the tales that are going to lead us into love. And the excitement I have about being here is this is like an amazing example of that, because I'm like in a hot sandwich of incredible storytellers, visionaries, thought leaders who are leveraging their life experiences, and they're taking the time to craft a message, wrap it in art, and present it in a really, really interesting way, so that we, those who receive it, have the opportunity to have a perspective shift, to get a new view or new lens on something. And that is a great gift, because it allows us to shift our perception, and that can happen in a heartbeat. And so I am really delighted to be here and sharing this piece. And I'm fortunate that every day I get to do this with musicians and artists and thought leaders. However, today I really wanted to speak to the unsung heroes. I wanted to speak to the people in the stands, to the people in the Zoom room, and the people on the live feeds. I want to speak to you. And in the theme of reimagining and taking action, I want to reimagine your role as a storyteller. And I want to take action into inspiring and laying out a pathway where you yourself can be an active participant in moving us from a world that is fed by fear into a world that is led by love. And so, with that, I want you to realize that in the vault of your life experiences, your unique life experiences, is an absolute treasure trove of wisdom, of wonder, of woe, of mishap, of marvel. And inside of this treasure trove, all the emotions that you've been through, everything from guilt to good times to grand adventures, it has literally made you a walking collection of well-earned stories. And there is, in fact, nobody on the planet more highly qualified to tell that story than you. And so, my invitation, my calling forth, is for you to take those stories unique to you, the ones that move you the most, the biggest epiphanies, the hardest lessons, the deepest reflections, is to take the time with those stories, to rest knowing that they're dripping in authenticity, because these stories are yours. Take these stories and distill them down to their most essential essence. And then with that, take the time to consider how to share that, how to tell that tale, how to make this an evocative lesson for somebody else. Not to tell anybody anything, but to share a piece of who you are and what you've been through. To provide an aha moment. To leave somebody better than you found them. And so when you take this piece of authenticity, of a story that is so uniquely yours, and you intelligently craft it, and then you muster all the art you possibly can in whatever that looks like for you, and you share this, what you actually have is a little thing called a truth drop. And that truth drop, whether you are sharing it on a couch, over coffee, or in your social feed, or the next time that you're on stage, that truth drop will change lives. Because the perspectives that you have to offer, the hard lessons that you've been through, the fears that you have transmuted and turned into lessons, now that is something that I can learn from anybody. And so I'm really inviting everybody here to celebrate all the artistry that we're seeing today, and to also take the time to explore your own. And so with that, I want to introduce you to somebody. I want to introduce you to a dear friend, Faze. And Faze is many things, but Faze is not familiar with being on a camera. And Faze, just like anybody else out in the stands, took the time to dive in and to extrapolate his own truth drop. And I'm really, really excited to share that with you now.
We've got 4,000 weeks. That is the average lifespan on this planet. That's what we got. To live, to love, to belly laugh, to dance, to swim, to enjoy this most magnificent human experience possible. And what do we do in this ultimate playground? We scroll. We scroll and we thumb through these infinite feeds of dopamine hits, diminishing and eroding our attention spans and taking us away from things that really matter. It's a losing hand. It's a poker game you cannot win. And here's why. The AI that's in our hands is actually 300 times more powerful than the one that famously defeated our chess grandmaster. Let that land. And so, while we're enjoying these apps and these experiences that we think are free, we are actually oblivious to the fact that we're the product that is being sold, and it's being paid for and funded by our most valuable asset, our time and attention. And so perhaps this is the moment when we make a decision to taking agency over our most valuable resource and looking at how we can allocate our energy and our time and our attention towards things that are really important to us, to developing important skills like our creative endeavors, our most valued relationships, and looking at how we can serve and support this planet. So I've got 2 questions for you. Number 1 is, how many weeks do you have left out of your 4,000 weeks? And number 2, what are you going to do with them?
It moves me every time. And that truth drop is so present for me anytime I go to get into a mindless scroll. And that is a gift that just keeps on giving. And there's something about using our time wisely and to expanding our creative capacities. Something happens when we get out of the stands and we get on the playing field. And if these truth drops are something that you use professionally, then what you actually craft is the most potent piece of market cut-through you could find. And if you're doing this for personal reasons, you end up with a timeless legacy piece. And so my invitation is for us all to reimagine our role as storytellers and to take action, to sit at night and journal, write on post-it notes, to take the time that you would spend scrolling and spend the time diving into your unique life experiences and honoring them and celebrating them, because the stories, our lives, are literally a collection of the stories that we tell ourselves and others. I just suggest we make them good ones. And so it's a real pleasure to be here for this little 10-minute speed dating exercise. Teresa, thank you so much. And it's to share my artistry in this way is such a blessing. And thank you all.
Pete, that was so beautiful. That was just beautiful. I love it. And there's some links in the chat for Pete. And I believe, Pete, that you're really opening up your time and energy to support people if they want to do their truth drops and find their messaging. Do you want to say something about that?
Yeah, I am in the middle of a large reimagining myself with everything that has occurred this year. And the gift that has come from that is really spending more time doing messaging coaching and helping people find their truth drop, their unique voice, their way of expressing what is uniquely theirs. And so I'm personally in a deep experience of, I went to a studio every day and I was very lucky speaking with very, some of the brightest minds and biggest hearts. And now I'm on doing something that I never imagined I'd be doing. And what a gift to be here in front of however many thousands of people and sharing my artistry in a different way. So as somebody who is actively reimagining and taking action, I'm lit up by the concept, and it's just amazing to be part of it.
Thank you, Pete.
And there's lots of, if you follow this link here too, I've set up a bunch of treats for anybody on Saturday Night Alive, and some behind the scenes pieces and some special little pieces. So if you follow the yellow brick road there, I'm really looking forward to like spoiling you all with goodies.
Thank you so much, Pete, for all of your love. That's classic. Really beautiful. So we're weaving, like each person is bringing in something really powerful to help us to reimagine our role in this and what we can do about it. And the next person we're going to bring is Shariah. And I just want to say Shariah is one of the people who's been helping with Saturday Night Alive. And when we talked about what this show is going to be, she just said, this is me. This is my life. This is who I am. I really want to be involved. And so, of course, she needed to be a part of it. And she's going to share a poem with us today. She's an author and an artist and a poet and a really beautiful human being. So, Shariah.
Thank you so much, everyone. The synchronicity and the synchronicity weaving here amidst our different viewpoints and shares is really beautiful as well. And so this poem, got some fluff here. Let me fix my hair. Okay. We've got a poem here that came through just for this show. And so I'm honored and delighted to share it with you. It's called Crystal Crow Flies. Brothers and sisters, the time is nigh. You hold precious visions that make the maker cry. It's time to rejoin the loving crucible. You'd be invincible if you were inseparable. Crystal Crow stands by, wondering, oh, Mani Padme, who? I am he, as you are me, and we are all together, truly as one hue on a tree. We are birds of a feather, and the walrus knows. Let us join. Kant ranted, live your life as if every act becomes a universal law. Now we hear the crystal crow call. She who was seated on the throne said, I shall make everything new. Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth, and the crow flew. We have been devils and we have been rebels. We have been kind and we have been blind. We have become more, but have we become one? Our unity in diversity is how we have fun, co-creating through coherency new visions of earth. From the loins of our heart, these new ways we will birth. Watching our world wake up from history, we remove the shrouds of our past cloaked in mystery and reveal to ourselves what we've known all along. If the Grinch steals our Christmas, we sing the Who song. Oh, Mani Padme Who! Join hands and hearts now as we come into rhythm. As the crow flies, become wise to your mission. What should we do crawling between earth and heaven? Allow conquerors to divide, or at their own game beat them? As Shakespeare spake, forsooth, you can do a lot with hate, but more, this is truth. So stand up straight and proud, lift your vibrations out loud, surmise the situation at hand, and together take a stand for peace and harmony in synergistic symphonies through visions of new earth and gilded unity. And we see the crystal crow fly, knowing now the time is nigh to forgive all beings and bury the hatchet, lest we fall prey to a conqueror's racket. Then we shall shout with reasonless rhyme, it's the end of the world as we know it, and we feel fine. Oh, mani padme hum. But who is this enemy with conquest in mind? How many layers of dirt shall we find? Truly, we must each look within, for a worthy opponent might just help us win. Our pulse of presence is where it's at. We win as one when we remember that. Feel everything and move through the pain. The power of love will wash it away. It's the end of the world as we know it. Sing it. It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. And we feel fine. Bow, 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 bow.
That was awesome, Shariah. Definitely, that was beautiful.
Thank
You can find more about Shariah and her work, and I really encourage you to dive deep into her little container. She's got so much to give, and I know we're going to see more and more of you in the future. And blessings on your time with your brother. And she's taking care of family right now, and that's a big commitment. And I just want to tell you how much we love you, and you can take that with you tonight into your life. Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you. That was great. Well, so we're going to keep weaving and we're going to keep going through. Each person is bringing something beautiful and powerful to this prayer that we're weaving, and our capacity to shift from a world fed by fear to a world led by love. And I was introduced to this beautiful woman, Pauline Pipe, Paulette. I'm sorry. Did I just say that? Paulette Pipe. About a week ago or 2 weeks ago from Kristen Hoffman, who's on this call. And the moment that she spoke about her, I knew we had to have her on. I knew she was exactly the person that I wanted to have. And we had a short call, and I just fell in love with her from the moment we started to talk. And she's a gifted meditation teacher, and she has a podcast called Touch the Stillness, which is a beautiful podcast. I've listened to a few of them. I'm really, really beautiful, and I highly recommend them. And I wanted to have her come on here and share some of her love and wisdom with us. So if we could spotlight her video, and I want to bring on Paulette Pipe. Look at you. Your smile does it for me every time.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you for this
bringing
beautiful opportunity. Wow. My heart is full. So this is a perfect place to take a prayer pause or a breath pause. So what I'd like to do is lead us through a very short meditative experience, especially now as we reimagine and take control of our life. We can do that through the breath. So I'm going to take us through an experience where we're going to count our breath and make every breath count. I'm just going to mute myself for just a moment so I can set up the music. So I'm going to invite you into this experience by first taking a deep breath, exhaling all the air, and then if you're comfortable doing so, just lower your eyes from all outer distraction. And as we go through this meditative experience, this brief pause, as I count each breath, you may want to find your own rhythm. And if you lose count, that's okay. Just pick up again where you can. And if I lose count, that's okay too. Our intention is to breathe a prayer breath, a pause breath, count every breath, and make every breath count. So deep inhalation, exhale, and let's begin. 100, 99, 98, 97, 96, 95, 94, 93, 92, 91, 90. Let your shoulders drip down from your ears. 89, 88, 87, 86, 85, 84, 83, 82, 81. Uncurl your toes in your shoes. 80, 79, 78, 77, 76, 75, 74, 73, 72, 71. Unclench whatever is tight. 70, 69, 68, 67, 66, 65, 64, 63, 62, 61. Let those breaths come from your belly. 60, 59, 58, 57, 56, 55, 54, 53, 52, 51. Feel the peace ascend you. 50, 49, 48, 47, 46, 45, 44, 43, 42, 41. Let the fear melt into nothingness. 40, 39, 38, 37, 36, 35, 34, 33, 32, 31. Feel your safety. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21. Feel the love rise up within you. 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11. Let the healing rise up within you. Reimagine taking control. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Deep inhale. Exhale all the air. Breathe into your power. Breathe into your strength. Call back your power. Be established in truth. Let healing be established within you as you breathe in and breathe out, making every breath count. As we count every breath, we also know that we count, that we matter, that who we are and what we contribute to this energy field and this frequency counts. Breathe in once more, a deep breath. Exhale and feel your energy field and your frequency of light expand and multiply, a magnitude, a vibration that can never again be repeated as it expands within us to that greatest frequency that our body can realize, that our mind can realize, that our heart can contain. And now we choose to trust. Allow the breath, the light, the life, the love, the power to do its perfect work in, through, and round about us now. And then bring your hands to prayer position with your thumbs on your sternum. Take a deep breath here. And as you exhale, flutter your eyes open. From that space of peace and power and light within me, to that space of peace and light and power within you, united in our breath and our purpose. Namaste.
Thank you so much, Paulette. Touching the stillness. Profound. Please check out Paulette's work on her website and join the podcast. And really, it's beautiful. And I look forward to us collaborating more, Paulette. I can really feel. Kristen, thank you so much. Beautiful. I wanted to bring Jess Magic back in for just a moment. We're running a little bit long in our thing, but I want to bring Jess back on for just a moment. I feel like there's a little. There we go. Hey, Jess. I wanted to let people know we can't, for some reason, we can't be on at the same time. And we both sound a little bit like chipmunks, which is so cool. I love that little tiny chipmunkness about it. I wanted to let people know about your Route to Rise and the soul salons that are coming up as a way to spend more time with you. And I'm just going to put those slides up really quick for you to say something about that, and just if you have a blessing for us before we move on. But here we go. Woo, shoot! I'm going to stop that for a minute. Something just jumped away. Sorry about that. Why don't you go ahead and open your mic and I'll close mine.
Okay. So, yeah, we have my brother True and I, who is on the earlier session with Teresa, the Global Coherence Pulse, with Charles Eisenstein. We are offering this program for the next month called Route to Rise. It starts on Wednesday, and it's really around unlocking your inner artistry and really being able to feel so safe in your vessel that you can let your heart and your spirit and your soul move through you, so you can connect more fully to your purpose and really feel activated in that way, and like you're really giving your gifts from that place of the hardest. So that starts on Wednesday. And and then we have this soul salon coming up, which is part of the Reimagine the 1%. It's essentially almost like Oprah or Ellen DeGeneres meets church, but a non-dogmatic, non-denominational church where all people from all walks of life are invited and really welcome to experience spontaneous, undeniable moments of oneness, to remind us fully that we're not separate, to remind us fully that we're in this together. Charles was sharing earlier about those moments in concerts where everyone's all singing the chorus and you forget all of a sudden, you forget for a moment that you're this separate person or you're by yourself on any level and everybody's singing together. We just feel it. And that's the role of the Soul Salon, really, is to give us in these virtual environments a feeling of undeniable moments of oneness. So yeah, join us for that. And it's a free offering and we'd love to see you all there. So thank you so much for having me here. And it's just such an honor to be a part of this community.
Thank you, Jess.
Thank you, Jess.
Love you so
Love you
much.
so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You. Hey, Scott, I'm going to turn this over to you so that you guys can talk a little bit about your community fundraising that you've been doing, which has been so inspiring, I think, for everybody on the Saturday Night Alives. And wow, what a beautiful first hour
Oh
and
my,
a half.
yeah. Yeah. Thank you for everything you've put together and just each presenter, their voices, their spirit. And what an opportunity for all of us to look inside of ourselves and say, okay, what is my artistry? I love that way of thinking. And want to encourage everybody watching on Facebook or in our Zoom room to keep thinking, what is your artistry? And claim it, celebrate it, perhaps even put it in the chat box so we can celebrate with you. One of the significant parts of this show has been fundraising. In fact, our show began as a fundraiser. We were going to do a live fundraiser for our good friend Fantuzzi, and the pandemic hit, and Deborah said, hey, let's do something online. We thought it was just going to be a one-time thing, and here we are 9 months later. And so we have never stopped the fundraising part of the show, however. And I'm proud to say we've raised over $60,000 for different nonprofit organizations. And most recently, we've been primarily supporting people who have lost their homes in the wildfires. Originally, I was saying the California wildfires. Then it was the California and the Oregon wildfires. Then it was the California, Oregon, and Colorado wildfires. And sure enough, even tonight, we're going to be supporting two people. One person lost his home in Santa Cruz. A little bit later, you're going to meet a woman who lost her home in Colorado. So to tell you a little bit more about Redwood, who lost his home in Santa Cruz, I'm turning it back over to you, Teresa.
Yeah, Redwood, let's see. Have you opened up your video so that we can see you? Let's make sure we can see Redwood.
I definitely opened up my mic.
So I think I can start your video. There we go. Ask to start your video.
I think I'm there.
Great. So
Hi, everybody.
Redwood is a friend of mine from Santa Cruz, and he lost his home along with many others in a community that was really close to our beautiful Big Basin forest. And I was really touched by his story. He came over to my house before he went on a little journey, and it's so powerful to be with somebody who's lost their home, and also for me with Redwood, watching our beautiful forest be gone. So I wanted to bring Redwood on and invite him to share a little bit of his story and have us raise some funds for him tonight. So Redwood, happy for you to be here. Thank you so much.
I know you're wondering, a lot of people have asked me about my story, and it's a really long story. It's hard to tell in a short period of time, but I think the real story is not what happened during the fire, but what has happened after the fire and how my life has been changed fundamentally. Everything that I knew before the fire, and even the person that I knew before the fire, is fundamentally changed. I am no longer the person that I used to be, and I have changed in a very powerful way. And I have really grown to understand that it's important to be in the moment, to not really dwell in the past. And for me, at least, it's hard to perceive the future. So I'm not really looking too deeply into the future because my life is in such flux right now. And I've been very humbled by the whole process of the fire and literally running from my life from the fire. But I've also been very humbled by people's generosity and how just the entire world has stepped up incredibly since the fires happened. That's actually a picture of my little cabin that I lived in Last Chance, which Last Chance is a very rural community in the mountains of Santa Cruz, down a 6-mile dirt road. Everybody who lives in Last Chance lives off the grid. And I had lived in that little cabin for 32 years. And that's what the cabin looked like after the fire. I lived in Chaparral, so fires have a tendency to burn, in particularly very hot in Chaparral. And the flames were literally like 100 feet high at like 40 miles an hour. And as you can see in these pictures, everything was completely incinerated. There was nothing left alive. That's a picture of me where my house used to be, trying to go through the debris and find anything salvageable, which there was pretty much nothing salvageable left in all of the possessions. And that's me just hamming it up. And it's hard to tell in this picture, but all the hillsides in the background are also completely incinerated. And that's a 20,000 acre state park called Big Basin State Park, which is actually the first state park in the California state park system. It set the precedence for all other state parks in California. And it was set aside for posterity. The original 3,000 acres of old growth redwoods have been there for thousands of years. Mm-hmm. So I had a hell of a backyard.
Yeah. We lost
so that. I don't have that anymore. My life has changed and I'm on the move. I am homeless. I'm in Maryland right now with some friends, my folks, and I am really directionless. I don't know where I'm going, but I know that Santa Cruz is a route for me, and I'm coming back. And thanks to people like Teresa and all the wonderful people on this program. Once again, the generosity has just been overwhelming.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Redwood, for coming on and sharing and for being open to let us support you in this process. And the website's up right here. We put a link in the chat. While Kristen Hoffman comes on, she's going to sing for us, which Kristen Hoffman is one of my favorite vocal I don't even know what to say, vocal. There's something about Kristen when she sings, my heart just immediately opens. And I thought that it would be the perfect thing as we like really take in like what happened with Redwood and so many others that lost their homes in the fire and lost everything and are standing in a moment of really just sheer presence with nothing but whatever they're going to take next, that Kristen could really help us to open our hearts and carry that through. And so, Kristen, thank you for being here. I love you so much. And I know that we'll be really touched by yours as we support Redwood right now.
Thank you, Teresa. It's such an honor to be here tonight, and Redwood sending you so much love and light and support. And this song is a song of healing. During these times of divide and polarity, can we reimagine a deep kind of healing that occurs at the core level, where love and peace and light and virtue live? When we go to the core, as we exchange with others in our lives, and when we interact from the core, we begin to realize that there's way more that connects us than separates us. The first lyric says, "When the hate comes, let there be love." So when we're faced with hate, when we're faced with challenge, when we're faced with loss, rather than letting it take us down, can we reimagine another possibility? Can we go to that space of love and see what happens? Here we go. When the hate comes, let there hearts and our souls. May we remember we're whole, connected at the core. One people we're whole, connected at the core of it all. And when the fear comes, let there be love. When the tears fall, let there be peace. And when the violent fist of the lost ones crashes down, breaks our hearts, chains our souls, may we remember we're whole, connected at the core. One people we're whole, connected at the core, soul to soul. And when that fever starts to flare, we're gonna shake down, shake it down, shake it down. And when those guns are in the air, we're gonna lay them down, lay them down, lay them down. And remember we're whole, connected at the core. One people we're whole, connected at the core, soul to soul. One people we're whole, connected at the core, the core, at the core, connected at the core of it all, of it all. Thank you.
Beautiful, Kristen. Thank you so much. And Redwood, thank you so much again for coming on. And please open up your hearts and make a donation. I just did myself just now while you were singing, which felt so good, to support a friend, right, who's getting back on his feet. And so thank you, Redwood. Thank you for coming on and opening your heart and letting us support you. Makes a big difference for us.
Thank you, Teresa, and thank you, Kristen, and thank you, everybody. Once again, human compassion, empathy, and generosity is so obvious and everywhere. You don't even have to look for it. You just have to be open to it. So thank you, everybody. And I appreciate the opportunity for me to express myself here. And I'm looking forward to going forward.
Yeah.
Thank you for the music, Kristen. That was beautiful.
Thank you. Wow. So as we keep marinating all the way along here, I want to bring in Luke Cohen, who's, I wanted to really bring in some of the young voices, the new culture. And Luke is definitely somebody that's helping to shape the planetary culture and the new stories. He's a spoken word artist. He's a presenter. He's a musician. He's all kinds of things. And Luke, I'm really excited to have you on today and to really explore collaboration with you at a whole nother scale and to bring your voice forward in your message. So welcome.
Super grateful and honored to be here with everybody. Aloha. Good to see so many familiar faces from over a decade of time, from Peter in New York to reconnecting with Deborah here and our friends and Theo. It's just, we're a woven tribe. Thank you, Jess and Pete. Yeah, so many beautiful souls that are coming into connection again at this powerful turning on our planet. So, yeah, I want to give some context to a story today that I think helps weave this narrative of reimagining a world into love. So, to before I dive into that story, there's a little piece of context too, to take in that these events that are happening online, these sort of catalyst points that are moving us more into purpose, more into our mission, more into coherence together. And coherence for me is a lot about building shared reality, and like Pete said, the stories that we tell shape our reality. We have the opportunity to unpack and uncover what those essential nuggets of truth are, which can become these cultural memes. They become these signposts that we start to recognize as a pattern within our collective awakening. And so as we do that, these new archetypes emerge, these new stories emerge, and we forge that new way together. And one of my most favorite stories that I've ever heard that really shifted something in my consciousness to orient around what's happening is the story of the imaginal cells. And this is a story that maybe some of you have heard in a very brief way, which is the journey of the caterpillar to the butterfly. But there's a hidden journey within that I want to share. And so when the caterpillar is consuming its environment, it's consuming something like 40 times its body weight. It's eating, and it looks very destructive from one angle. If you were to zoom out, you'd see, wow, this little creature is destroying its entire environment. And this is an analogy for human consciousness, how we're consuming, how we're unsustainably extracting resources. But this evolutionary impulse happens inside this caterpillar. It gets this impulse to go inward. And that impulse is seated within what's called the imaginal cell, which is the blueprint of the butterfly in its seed form. And before it actually becomes that butterfly, it starts at that cellular level. And so caterpillar goes inward, goes inside that cocoon. And inside that cocoon, there's a battle that starts to happen. And what actually starts to happen is the caterpillar DNA thinks that the imaginal cells are a foreign invasion, thinks it's a kind of virus, and will start to attack those cells. And what those cells do is they actually cluster. They form coherent clusters of connection, and then start to fractal out inside that cocoon. And slowly but surely that DNA takes over. Everything's liquefied for a moment, and then all of a sudden the new structure reforms. The lung span triples in size, wings form, and then out comes a whole new being with no orientation towards what it was, absolutely brand new. And this is an analogy for the evolution of consciousness that humanity's undertaking, and that perhaps, we go through little phases of that. I know a lot of friends, and myself included, maybe some of you have known me as a Loka previously. We go through these shifts of identity, and we go through these deaths and rebirths of coming out and refining and birthing new aspects of ourself and our expression. But if we look at this at a collective scale, this analogy, it's an exciting way to frame it positively, to move from that chrysalis into a new being. And I think that the storytellers, the artists, the mystics, the healers, all the people that make up this sort of new emergent culture, they're carrying the blueprint of a new renaissance. They're carrying a blueprint in their DNA of the solutions, of the systems, of the technology, both ancient and future, that will help us create a new civilization. And it's exciting to begin to recognize that pattern of how we all have a piece, how we all bring our unique medicine or magic into the context of what's happening. And so if we look at the state of our world right now, this is the biggest thing of our generation. This is the World War II of our generation, but it's more nuanced. because we're not in the same level of density that we were on the planet during World War II. So in World War III, and that's what I'm going to call it, on some level, I'm not saying that's the context, but that's part of it, is an emotional, energetic, and consciousness-based war. So there's a psychological war being waged on humanity through media, through these things. And yet there's this whole other narrative that's emerging, which is within this blueprint of the imaginal cells. And so how do we balance this fear-driven narrative, which as we move through it, it's bringing up all the unresolved feelings from those types of timelines. You know, like I can tell you from my parents, who have been around through the Vietnam War and things like that, this is more of a globally connected event than they've ever experienced. And some of the feelings that they're facing, and many people in the US, is similar to how it felt, you know, maybe in Nazi Germany, right before that all went down. So some of the feelings of unsafety, some of the feelings of you know, out of control or powerlessness, or like just a victimization. We're transmuting victimization on our planet to come into empowerment. And so, but it's actually safer, like that those things aren't really happening, but the feelings are still real. And this is where some of the personal work that we do to transmute those emotional imprints in our DNA, which I believe as we do that work, each of us in our own space, to heal the imprints that were passed down to us through our lineages, and we unlock the trauma, there's a gift on the other side. There's literally an upgrade. There's a superpower that we get to unpack by meeting that trauma. And so I think it's important to have this as a cultural context for the transformation that we're going in, so that we don't get too lost in just the idealistic, but we also meet the shadow that life is bringing us to heal and transmute and to meet and to look at, and to do that more as a culture, to support each other, to integrate and face these bigger emotional challenges and these bigger feelings, these existential identity shifts that are necessary to have a new paradigm actually come into being, because we have to drop the identity of the caterpillar in order to become the butterfly. It's new DNA. And so what I believe is happening is that they're trying to prevent our DNA from going into that unlocked state, which is out of survival, which is in alignment with love and the truth of love at the core of reality. That's actually the foundation. The stillness and love is the foundation of this reality. But our consciousness has been steered in an overstimulated state so that it can't feel or access what's always been available to us. And this is something that I started to learn from our indigenous relatives and from the elders and the wisdom keepers around elucidating this reality of the dream time, that, you know, as eternal beings, at one point we oriented within space and time in a very different way. Before, time was a construct that was overlaid, and our consciousness was funneled into that time construct. And there's a really cool analogy around this, around when Great Britain kind of, you know, colonized the world. The prime meridian, where we orient to a Gregorian calendar and a Gregorian time frame, comes from Greenwich Mean, like GMTs. It's that prime meridian stems from Britain. So they literally set a blueprint of a time construct that can hijack eternity, that we're eternal beings having an experience within space-time. And that's the seed where we can find that the deeper liberation and empowerment and freedom within the challenges of this world, of like what we're actually transmuting and facing are big emotions, but they're not necessarily as threatening as they actually were at other timelines, other epochs on our planet. And so the internal work is profoundly, it's just profound, what we get to heal, what we get to transmute, and that it's a privilege to heal trauma. It's actually a privilege to be off the battlefield and then finally grieve. And there are many people on our planet that are not off the battlefield yet, that don't have the privilege to start grieving yet, but that through the oppression are building a soul resiliency to pop through. And so in the stages of ascension, as we unravel these things and we unlock this DNA, we actually set a blueprint for other beings to follow. We actually lay a groundwork for it to be easier and easier for each wave that comes after. And so, yeah, introducing this context of shadow work and these archetypes, archetype of the hardest, the story, to all these things, we're going to start to recognize this pattern, and this piece around in the indigenous awareness of where we're eternal beings within a space-time experience, I think is really, really important for us to start to tend to, in that the time that we give ourselves stillness, the times that we give, and how we meet our life challenges to build that soul resiliency. And so there's a framework from Jose Aguilar's calling, let's move from time is money to time is art. And I think this is why this culture and this particular global coherence pulse, and why this tribe is starting to gather, right? We're clustering as imaginal cells to help raise the vibration and attune to that blueprint that lives in all of us, that we bring our peace to, is to retell that story that we're actually eternal beings, and that we get to change the value system, which is set by the culture, where we put our time and energy and attention. I'm just retelling like the fractal of everything that has been covered today in a different way, right? I'm hearing myself say these things. I'm like, oh yeah, Faze was saying that, and Pete was saying that, and just because these are alive in us. So how do we move from time is money in a very dense construct that we have to struggle in on a very, there's struggle in that construct to time is art. If we're an eternal being, where's the pressure? Where's the stress? Where's the game changes? And this is what Joe Dispenza talks about, moving from the quantum level first into this reality. And as Teresa mentioned, we feel that we're, as a collective, moving back to or forward toward this understanding of quantum reality and the way of orienting ourselves within this holograph of this quantum reality. So how do we move? This is the question that I want to plant as we reimagine. How do we move from time is money to time is art? What is the journey that we have to take in each of our lives to create that as a collective cultural value system, and to accompany each other in the hard places where we're all going to meet shadow, and we're all going to meet edges of our identity, where the identity construct held a set of feelings in place from that old world and all the conditions that were passed down generationally. Because we can't get to oneness in the way, we can't remember that we're part of oneness until we meet some of the very dense imprisonment codes that live in the collective consciousness, that we've all been indoctrinated with in different levels. It's our job to dismantle those. We can't just hop, skip right to love and light and expect it to magically resolve everything. There's also that deeper work of meeting the edges. And how can we create a cultural norm of shared reality and coherence that allows people to have their humanity, that allows them to have the space to meet the deeper grief that hasn't been met, the space to meet the rage that may have come from their lineage of oppression, that allows something to be expressed that has been shamed or been indoctrinated to never be felt or never be acknowledged. So this is the deeper work that I believe as a collective that we're here to do, as well as anchor that more Renaissance level, that really idealistic golden age that we all know is possible and we're all living into. We also have to make space for that shadow work. We have to include that in order for that to be an anchored reality that's sustainable and scalable, and where our shared reality of coherence is built from such a deep inclusion of our humanity, a deep inclusion of the edges that we each face as individuals in this time.
Thank you so much, Luke. Beautifully said. I love the imaginal self story. It's always been a potent one for me as well. And I think that as we tune into the imaginal cell that we are, that's when the healing starts to happen. And when we feel like we're out of step or where we're hitting a deep patch, if we just resonate that experience of the imaginal cell, then we connect with the field of that emerging, and we can gain some energy from the collective that's waking up, so that we can keep riding through that transformational place. So really beautifully said. Thank you so much. And if you want to know more about Luke's work, you can see there's a link in the chat there. And I think Amelie, you're the perfect next step in this journey. And again, we're like weaving this prayer. Each person is adding something to the story and to the experience. And I just really wanted to bring in also your young and fresh voice. Amelie has always inspired me of the way that she takes like her personal experience and really turns it into something really powerful that we can all relate to in our lives. So Amelie, I really want to give you a moment for your voice to come in, and thank you again,
Thanks
Luke.
so much. Yeah. Thank you so much, Teresa and everyone. It's just such a deep pleasure, and I am so stoked, Luke, about what you just dropped, and really just all the seeds that we're all weaving, all these threads that really make this new tapestry of the story that we're creating. Teresa, in the introduction of how you titled this, you said how we're co-creating a future equal to our vast potential. And that to me, just like when I sit and let that land, and then I apply that to, well, how am I reimagining myself as a creator? Because this is the time to reclaim our consciousness, as so many of us are saying. There's so many draws on it, and so much is at stake at this moment, depending on what we do now. So if I can reclaim my consciousness, then I allow the creative intelligence and this consciousness to claim me for what I am an instrument made to do, how to play this instrument, this evolving music. So what I want to play with and just present a vision for is this vision of ourselves as creators. And I feel like part of this is waking up to our makeup. Like, what are we made of? And so much of physics and the sciences and these visionary mathematicians and people are helping to map out this new quantum reality, this worldview that we're like, oh my God, all these new ways of envisioning what is reality. What are the geometric substructural patterns of space-time, and what does this mean about us? And so drawing it back to like, how do the 5D quantum worldviews apply and integrate to me being human, me having a psyche, me having parts and pieces and trauma and karma and, you know, childhood experiences, and having been imprinted with this design that when you tune into the physical DNA, it's just these vibrating codes of energy that we have access to. And so when I started to ask this question and bridge these new views of the quantum universe and the unified field, I started to notice all of these kind of correlations to what I understood that Jung was saying about the individuation process and the psychic structure and these real structural elements of consciousness that we could call archetypes that weave the story of our lives. And when we see that model of archetype like playing out and recognizing that we're made up of this component interlocking sets of dynamics of parts of ourselves, when I'm operating from that frequency of fear and coming from what we could call a third dimensional reality, I don't have a lot of creative capacity there. Because, and I'll just share like one thing is the way that one of the models that I use is how the vector equilibrium, these 12, the mathematical substructure of the vacuum, has these 12 points, and Marshall Lefferts in his work with cosmometry has mapped it to the notes, the 12 notes of the scale. And you can see that there's also a color wheel of 12 colors that we can map around. And here we have these 12 archetypes of the zodiac. So when I think about the creator, like what kind of music am I making through my being? I start to think of like, what are the energy dynamics? And from this like frequency of fear, what we often see is like only one note can really play at once. It's like A minor, A minor. No, really, it's A minor. And I'm not B flat. I am not that, you know? And it's like to actually turn inward, like you're saying, Luke, and take stock of like, okay, what am I made of? What's my design? What energies am I working with? I just see such an incredible capacity for us to start synthesizing energies, holding more than one at one time, and being able to make chords and make beautiful colors and such, because oftentimes we're relating to the distorted over or under modulated frequencies. So someone comes in and, or even just like a part of me that wants to control, because in my survival brain, that's how I've been safe. So I outsource my need for regulating my nervous system to this, okay, I'm going to control. Well, I feel that in my chest, it comes up and it hardens my structure. So part of modulating that frequency for me, it's not about like, okay, I can't control anymore. Like, don't be controlling. You need to surrender. Well, that's just the other side, like saying, not that, this. You need to surrender. Don't be controlling. But really, these are building blocks of consciousness. So we just need to relate to them from a different frequency. And when I do that, my body, that tight chest actually goes like, I turn it down and it slips into my spine and it resonates as this protective, just like, I got your back, girl. And then I have this subtle membrane right out here. And when I can hold that frequency and shift my control into like, okay, now I've just got this subtle thing going, my heart can gush. And I can start to like, hold relationship and my sovereignty at once. What is possible here is infinite, because all of our parts are coordinated outside of us to so many other people, and that's why relationships are so interesting and show us our dance with life. So I feel like I could go on for a long time about this subject, and I know I only have 5 minutes, so I think I've gone over. I think what I'll say in the end is like, there's so much that goes into this, the capacity to really shift into a new operating mode of consciousness that can hold multiple things at once. There's a lot that goes into that. And the nervous system and the survival brain have to come along for that journey. And the last thing that I'll say is that this emergence of new archetypes, Jung talked about this time being the kairos, where the metamorphosis of the gods would occur. And so how we're telling our stories in these new ways and being able to make music by coordinating our parts into a coherent structure, that just feels like the most exciting thing for me. And you can tell I'm very passionate about what I do and how I think and these ideas. So synthesize these virtues, synthesize these essential nuggets of truth, distill the distortions you see to their values. What is the value? And then start to work with those building blocks and make epic beauty, because that individuation process is just a coherence generating creative explosion of bliss in one sense. And many other things.
Oh, that was beautiful, Amelie. And, Amelie is available through her work to really work with people. She does the gene key, she does astrology. She's really a powerful person to work with if you're wanting to kind of bring forth that energy that is kind of like crushing your chest into something that rises your spine, right? So Definitely, Amelie, I look forward to seeing your work blossom in the time to come. And that was so fun. You're always so fun. And we'll hear more from her with Enthea that's coming up soon. They'll be playing some music for us too. But I really am so happy to give your voice some space because I think your message is powerful. And same with Luke, right? Like it's like these young culture builders are so important.
Thank you.
So I'm going to hand that back over, Scott, to you guys. You have some announcements, and we also have one more of our fire victims to talk about tonight before we go into some more music and then reimagine meditation and some other things. So stick around.
Absolutely. This is what we call the mid-show announcements, and we do have some special announcements. First, I want to thank all the people who have donated to Redwood. Thank you very, very much. A lot of you have been anonymous in your donation, but we see a lot of our friends like Sophia, Teresa. So thank you, and do please continue to donate. And we're going to meet our other recipient in another few minutes. You know, a lot goes into these shows, and one of the things that's been really beautiful is how many people have come on board as broadcast partners. So I just want to take a minute to thank our partners. Of course, Unify. We now are on Unify every Saturday night, and we have been for 2 or 3 months now. And I know a lot of you are watching on Unify. We get anywhere from 10 to 25,000 views on Unify, so that's beautiful. I really want to thank John and Summer Raymer and the Sign Network. They broadcast us out usually to about 75 different pages, Facebook groups and pages. Welcome to any of you watching us on Awake TV. And we always want to thank Jay Mayer and Light Touch. He's been a very generous sponsor and a very generous donor to many of our nonprofits and our fire victims. Alan Steinfeld and New Realities TV. A lot of you are watching this right now on his YouTube channel, and a lot of you will be watching the replay on his YouTube channel. Love Coach Academy. Hey, that's me and my organization. And so I think many of you are probably familiar with us. We have a dozen online shows we do every week, this being one of the most popular ones. We also want to thank our friends at Earth Dance and Humanities Team, Portal to Ascension, Disclosure Fest, and Global Days of Unity. They had their big event today, which we hosted for a while until it was time for our show to come on. I want to thank Sadiq and our friends over at Earthwalk. And tonight we have a brand new broadcast partner. Welcome, newearth1.com, our brand new broadcast partner. So that's pretty cool. Thank you so much. We are now planning our next season. Yep, we're going to continue on, and we're planning our winter season, which will start in January, of course. And we want your feedback. We want your input. So we've put together a new survey, and Deborah is putting that survey together, or putting it into the link into the chat box and also into our Facebook pages. And it's just simple questions, and we really want to hear what you have to say. What are some of the topics you'd like to see us tackle? What would you like to see more of? What would you like to see less of? We have questions about kind of the timing of the show. So please, please, please fill out our survey. That would really help us to make some choices so that we can serve you, our ever-growing audience, even more fully. And of course, as we're thanking people, again, we really want to thank Teresa and her team that have helped to put this show together. And now for some more mid-show announcements, I'm turning it over to my producing partner, Deborah Giusti.
Thank you, Scott. And I also want to thank everyone so much for your donations to our recipients that we are hosting. It really makes a difference. And thank you to everyone who donates when you register for the season, because that really helps us produce a quality show for you. And thank you, broadcast sponsors and our sponsors. And we are going to have 5 more shows for this season. So I want to tell a little bit about those. Next week is Thanksgiving weekend. So we are focusing on the power of community, building trust and coherence in co-creating community. And Brad Nye of Tribalize has helped us to create that show. We are going to be featuring Stephen Brooks, who's the producer of Envision Festival in Costa Rica, Michael Brian Baker, Bill Kauth, and Zoe Alwyn, who have created a lot of community information and connection. Diana Leaf Christian, Lotus Satava, Fernando Ibarra and David Rose, Connie and Andrew, and we're going to have some great music as well with Elijah Rose, Maitreya Wolf, and Bear Kite. And then on December 5th is going to be a really unique show, Hidden Mysteries, Ancient Advanced Spiritual Civilizations and How They Inform Us Now. This is being produced by our associate producer, Charaya Dharma, and we will be featuring William Henry, Tricia McCannon, Dr. Michael Feely, Brad Olson, with incredible music again, with Wah, with iStar, magician Sean Jay, and Neil Gar doing poetry. And then continuing in December, we're going to have on December 12th, Relationship Mastery, and David Pramal and Meeton is going to be there, along with lots of other incredible relationship coaches to inspire us, especially during the holiday season. And that is going to be sponsored again by Jay Mayer. So we thank you, Jay. December 19th is going to be a really powerful show during the time of winter solstice activation. We're going to have a lot of prominent spiritual teachers and guides and these major activations to create a new world for us all in 2021. And December 26th is going to be special moments of Saturday Night Alive. We're actually going to review all the incredible times that we've had during the year and bring up our special times and share those with you with some of our favorite live musicians. And also, we have another form I'm going to post in the chat room. I'd also love to hear what you love about the show. If you'd like us to be able to use your comments in some of our promotional materials. So I'm going to put that in the chat box as well in a moment. But for now, we have one more fire victim that we'd love to share with you about. And again, this has been so helpful to the people that we promote on the shows to feel your love, especially your green love as you donate to them. And so we are going to post their specific link in the chat room, and you're going to be able to hear their story and hear how they are dealing with having incredible loss of having just a wonderful life, and all of a sudden it evaporates like that. And so, Teresa, I'd like to bring you back on again and share about this next fire victim.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And Courtney, we can bring you up on the camera. Thanks for coming on tonight and hanging in there a little bit. I know it's getting late. And I found Courtney through one of my teammates, Penny, who lives up in Boulder, Colorado. And they also experienced some extreme fires. And Courtney agreed to come on and share her story. And I have some pictures, Courtney, that you sent me. So as you start to tell your story, I'll pop some things in there. But thank you so much for coming on. And I know that you're looking to raise money for your whole community today, which I really appreciate also. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate everything you guys are doing for everyone. You know, and it was really lovely to hear Redwood talk about his story. I feel like I'm really wanting to hear from other people who have gone through this type of thing, just to kind of grasp sort of the grief of it all. I don't know if you want me to share, just sort of bring you through the pictures. We were given about 10 minutes to evacuate. It was pretty far. That was our house before. And that's what happened about a month ago. October 17th was when the fire broke out, and it just really spread quickly within a matter of hours. About 26 homes were lost in North Boulder. That's the back of the house looking inward into the basement. You know, it was my dream house, and was on the side of the mountain, and it was just like, you know, Brad was saying, also has beautiful backyard, beautiful trees and so forth. So it's hard looking at some of the photos, but yeah. So we, my family, I have two small children, and my husband and I, we evacuated. We took our dogs. We had two bunnies. And everyone was safe. And my parents actually also lived with us. And they were just living with us temporarily while they got back on their feet, and then they lost everything. So, but you know, we feel really lucky and we feel very blessed. Like the whole Boulder community has been just so incredible and very supportive. And, you know, it's my home. I was born there. I was born in Boulder, and the
Courtney, you just froze. This is the Community Foundation Relief Fund.
Well. And they had introduced me to you all, and so the donations aren't necessarily directly for me. It would be for the entire community, and it's called the 2020 Fire Relief Fund, and it's supporting individuals who really need it. We were lucky enough to have insurance, and you know, I have my job and my husband has his job, and so we feel just really lucky. But you know, now we're homeschooling our children with no home, so it's been quite the year. But this organization is putting together relief efforts for the land restoration, which is something that's really going to be important for us. It's extremely expensive to restore land after a fire, and doing as much as we can to try and get it back up and going. So anyways, the donation link helps many people. It also helps nonprofits helping the individuals who have lost their homes, as well as the restoration of the land, and trying to figure out what we're going to do.
Thank you so much, Courtney, for coming on and sharing your story and your heart. And we're going to have Kristen Hoffman come and sing for us again as people take some time to make a donation to the fund. And yeah, I mean, it's so deeply touching to see the pictures and to know that in a moment you had 10 minutes, like same with Redwood, like to get out and then to have everything gone in those moments. And we just really want you to feel our love and our care and our support, and, you know, as if it were us. That's how we have to care for each other, as if it were us. So thank you so much for your
thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Kristen, will you come and bring some music while we take some time to make a contribution to these funds?
Yes. I want to share an improv, or a piece that I call Salon. When I go into an improv space, I envision that it's soul or light weaving with Om, the vibration of the universe. So Courtney, just sending this piece to you. And as I'm diving into this improv, I like to think that we are all consciously co-creating this piece together from our hearts. So just feel this music, and may it bring you some healing. dance, and there's no fear, because we remember there's no fear tonight. Can we reimagine you in the heart of the world, in the heart of the world? Oh, land, can we feel you dancing? Oh, I feel you dancing, hear you in our lives.
You're just an angel.
Very nice. Precious.
I'd love for us to spotlight Redwood and Courtney, if you wouldn't mind, and your beautiful child there. And just let us all, let's just put our hands together, just rub our hands together, bring all of our love right into our hands. And we're going to send it out to you, Redwood. And we're going to send it out to Courtney and your family. And we're going to send it out to all of the people that you love that have lost their homes in the fire. And we're just going to send all this love out so that you can be nourished and receive it. And we'll do it now. Yeah. And as things become more challenging in the world, we need to keep treating each other as if it were us that was facing some challenge, and give what we can. And if we keep doing that, then more and more love will spread. Thank you, Courtney. And is that your beautiful daughter?
Yeah, this is Taylor. Say hi.
Hi, Taylor. Did you love that music?
Yeah, it was really pretty.
Thank you. Thanks for coming on the call today. And we hope that you get a new house soon and that you can have some things again that you love. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Blessings. Thank you, Courtney. Thank you so much.
Good luck, Courtney.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Redwood. Good luck. We're all in it together.
Yeah, we're all in this together. Yeah. And thank you, Kristen, every time.
Thank you, Kristen.
Hearts open.
Kristen.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So next up we have Mr. Peter Opperman, who's a new friend of mine. Again, I keep meeting all these wonderful new friends where their work and their message are so aligned with the lineage of my own heart. And so it was important to bring Peter on. I'm in an incubator of his, and he's helping people to connect in with their future self and to take steps every day to begin to walk into that future self present now. And so, Peter, I'm really excited to have you on. Peter has a background in engineering, which I love his whole systems mind because it really resonates with mine. And then he really turned that around and became a meditation teacher and a coach and a real beautiful person on the planet. So welcome, Peter. Thanks for coming on tonight.
Thank you, Teresa. Thank you so much for this invitation. Such a pleasure to share this moment in time with all of you, everyone who's watching us right now, and everyone on this panel. I almost feel this is like a family reunion. There's Kristen, who just sang for us so beautifully, a dear friend from New York City. Luke is here, also a friend from New York. My dear friends also Amalie and Alexi. So welcome everybody. Such an honor to share this time on Saturday Night Live with all of you. Thank you everybody who's been part of making this magic happen. So Teresa, I love what you're putting out, the question, how can we actually shift from being led by love, by fear, and lead with love instead? Now, how can we do that? How can a world look like that is actually led with love instead of by fear? And when we ask that question, I think it's a big mirror we need to look into and ask ourselves first, how am I actually being led by fear instead of putting love first? I'm a victim of fear a lot of times. You know, I have limiting beliefs inside of myself about not being worthy, not having what it takes, being a fraud. So I have these inner voices inside of me, and I believe everybody else who is watching us right now has their fair share that makes us human. Our humanity is our shared brokenness. It's something that is real. And if we are really wanting to have an honest conversation, like Luke started to have, about where's the shadow, where's my own shadow, where's the collective shadow, we need to take a good look at ourselves and include us in this change process. True sustainable change can only happen if we also change individually. And obviously, the more are changing, the more we are changing into coherent communities and make a collective change. But the work really starts in our own hearts and minds. And there's a method that I want to share with you tonight. I actually prepared a couple of slides for you. It's really something that I've been teaching and developing over many years now, over the last 25 years of being a practitioner and student of many different practices and wisdom traditions, and really testing that with my engineering mind, empirical, keep the good and throw out, that what doesn't, stand the time of test. So what if we had a tool? What if you had a compass that could actually direct you in a way forward that means to lead with love? How would that actually work? How could you have a tool that will help you to have confidence and clarity moving forward, and not to just be led by old paradigms, but by something that is innovative, that your soul is calling you forward? And that very hack I want to share with you tonight. It's a time hack, and everything kind of comes apart if we take linear time apart and start to deconstruct our notion of time. If we expand ourselves and if we relax into our true nature, which exists beyond time and space, if we allow our consciousness to merge with the quantum field, where we can literally already connect with our future self, like a friend, a mentor, a lover that is ready to embrace us and guide us moving forward. So allow me to share a few slides and show with you some exciting methods and tools that the Future Self Institute has developed over the years. And also at the end, since this is also an action summit, let's also co-create a pulse of positive action and commit to an act of human kindness. So here we go. I hope this all works well. The Future Self Institute has a mission to catalyze positive change in the world by inspiring people to discover, prototype, and launch their visions of the future today. I've worked with thousands of people around the world. I started out as an engineer many years back in Germany, but my intention to actually go into engineering was to find the best technologies to serve humanity for better change. And the moment I discovered meditation and mindfulness, I actually saw we already have the technology that I was looking for inside of ourselves, between our ears and in our hearts. So since then, I've been on this search to find and distillate the best teaching that I came across, which led me to the various, like an initiative of various tools and techniques. And the one technique that I find extremely helpful is to introduce people to their future self. As an engineer, you might have wondered, is that even possible? I was skeptic, but after thousands of people that I've worked with around the world, again and again, delivering, giving people a sense of what their fullest expression could actually look and feel like, and use that as a North Star for your own behavior, has really developed something that is solid. Then I expanded this concept to an event concept called Future Temple, where large groups of people come together and then afterwards share what is their vision, what's the collective vision of a more functional future, what are the values, what are the principles, and creating art together to visualize that kind of co-creative possibility. I also traveled the world, participated in various transformational festivals. This one here was at the Tomorrow Today Festival in Jamaica, working with large groups. As we all know, there's a power in groups. Powerful shifts can happen. I also teach work with corporate groups, very important, as there's a lot of vacuum there and need for change. Also, youth education is something extremely important. This was a project with the LAPD to work with younger citizens at a youth at risk program. And lo and behold, kind of planting these seeds of possibility and change. My most recent initiative has been the Future Self Summit, which is actually an event where Teresa and I met for the first time. Teresa was the keynote speaker, a 4-day gathering of innovators and thought leaders from around the world. And also, if people want to go deeper in this 8-week journey, the Future Self Incubator, where you can really go deeply and start to prototype yourself and the kind of creative visions that you have, whatever is inside of you, the dream that you have inside of yourself, to have a safe container to build that out, do both inner and outer work. So what is this compass for navigation that I mentioned earlier? This compass is really based on the idea that there's a quantum field. So let's bring a little clarity. What is this quantum field? Joseph Spencer speaks about it in such a way: the quantum field is an invisible field of energy and information, or you could say a field of intelligence or consciousness that exists beyond space and time, right? And if we think that we are part of that quantum field, if our consciousness can merge with the quantum field, we immediately have access to the space beyond time and space. And a whole new world of possibility is opening up. Similar with the spectrum analogy. We all know the prism that turns white light into the spectral colors. So something that appears as something with our normal five senses, normal white light, reveals its true nature when it's run through a device, in this kind, the prism. If we had a device to do the same with linear time, where we can run time and run it through a system to reveal its nonlinear nature, right? Where the present, the past, and the future can be experienced like as discrete, separate entities that are woven together. And this very device is the future self compass. So let me explain what this future self compass is all about. At its core, obviously, everything begins with our present self. And we are also comprised of our past self, our shadow, everything, the stories of the past that are still governing us. What's also present in this eternal now moment is the future, our full potential that we can meet like a friend, like a mentor, as well as the actualized self. And I'll speak about that in a moment. So the present self is really both who we are in our physicality, but also included in the expanded version of ourselves that is merged with the quantum field, where we literally have access to the presence, the past, and the future. So if we embrace the totality of who we are, we can, in this present moment, also engage with the past. And the past, in this case, stands for our shadow, our limiting beliefs, our traumas, everything that we are telling ourselves because we were conditioned at such an early age that we are not worthy, not good enough, not lovable. You fill in the blanks, all of these inner limitations that we all carry within us. And equally, we have access to our future self. I invite you to later on try one of my future self meditations so you can meet your future self in a reliable way and start to build a relationship, start to date your future self, so to speak. And the actualized self is really the kind of self that wants to be brought forth in physical form. That's the most beautiful expression that you can think of. Like if your life is turning into a work of art, how would you show up? What kind of projects would you create? What would you actually do? What would you create in your life? Okay, so we are discussing a world fed by fear. How does that reference to the future self compass? Basically, a world fed by fear means that our present self, our whole identity is derived from the past, that what we were fed, what we were conditioned by. Charles Eisenstein speaks about the old story of self that is separate, that is disconnected, that feels alone. So we all have these parts. If that's all we know, and we are trying to create something from that place, it holds that old vibration. And what this past self-consciousness creates is a state of personal incoherence. And the outcomes are also equally incoherent. So on a collective scale, what we are seeing in the world playing out right now is a world, I believe, that is coming from this past self-consciousness that's driven by fear and on scale creating outcomes that nobody wants anymore. It's an outdated system, but it starts with every one of ourselves kind of coming from this old past self-consciousness. So what does it actually mean now to develop a positive vision, to lead with love, right? So what needs to happen is that we need to connect with our true present self, who we truly are. And every change can only happen in the present moment. And then once we embrace the totality of who we are, we can literally awaken to our future self, to our full potential. And trust me, like my future self is just a man who's a man with integrity and leading with love. You know, those are the two main values. And it's beautiful to live a life from that place. Many of the people that I've worked with, discovering themselves in their most evolved version. But then it's not just about meditation. This is all about action as well. How can I create inspired action from this elevated state and channel that what I know, prototype myself, start with baby steps and create something beautiful that is supportive. So this process, when that happens again and again, also creates a collective. Collective, you may call it a collective of coherence. And when a collective of coherence takes action, we actually create a more beautiful world, like Charles speaks about, that our hearts know is possible. So this was a little preview about the Future Self Compass. The incubator is basically now an 8-week program that is mapping out this kind of condensed experience of the compass into an 8-week journey of a balance of inner work and outer work, where you can prototype the vision of your future into the here and the now. All right. Lastly, I want to speak about the summit that we just recently had and the acts of human kindness. During this 4-day program, we invited our participants, just like we are inviting you right now, to think about the kind of future that you are dreaming about, that your future self is already living, and to imagine you're taking a bite out of your future self and to out of the future and take a small action. So one person mentioned here, finding ways to help the environment and indigenous people as one act that you can do right now. Return to my local farmers market as something one person committed themselves to. Give something that you love away, even something that you are attached to. Making my boyfriend breakfast in bed as a surprise. So it's an act of kindness, of creating a more beautiful, loving world, starting with a small step or miles of smiles. So on this note, I want to invite you to do a little play together and to create a word cloud together. You can simply point your phone at this QR code and participate in an interface on your phone through Slido. And just think of one action of human kindness, of positivity, that is a representation of the future you want to be a part of. You can also open another tab on your computer on slido.com and enter the event code Take Action. So let's continue and find a few words here. So this is what's coming in right now. Feel free to play with us, add your ideas, and the more is coming in right now. You see this word cloud coming live. So
Peter, we don't
Yes.
see the cloud, but what we can do is why don't you put the cloud up? We're going to have Enthio play some music while we put in some acts of kindness that we're going to do, and
Into
then
the
we can
chat
see
box.
the cloud. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Okay, great.
Okay, great.
Great.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Peter. So Enthio, I think we'll have you come on and play some music while we're all putting in some acts of kindness that we're going to commit to, and then we'll see those on the Slido.
Yeah, thank you, Peter. You've
Yeah.
been an inspiration and support for me. So all of this is just so relevant. Thank you for your amazing presentation.
These family lines go farther than we know, beyond ancient future times. And what we have are stories and signs, blank puzzle pieces and hand-me-down minds. But we are more than just machines in some nightmare of a dream. But if you don't know why you're here, well, it's hard to see what it means. And there's a longing deep inside to be free from all the lies, to know we do make a difference and we're on the same side. Oh, this life is not just mine. I send ripples through space and time, and when I see myself reflected in your eyes, the mystery collides and destiny redefines our common design. Oh, our common design. Oh, well, I alone cannot save this world, but I can sing my song and make waves across the pond. And I believe, despite all the doubt, 'cause I've seen what's possible when we love enough to work it out. It's been a long, hard road for so many. The time's come, we're finally ready, and there's nothing left to do but come together and choose. What do we want? What is this worth? How can we learn a little more from the earth? We all bleed, we all breathe, we all come from the same seed, and this life is not just mine. I send ripples through space and time, and when I see myself reflected in your eyes, the mystery collides and destiny redefines our common design. Oh, our common design. Oh, our common design.
So beautiful. It's also beautiful to see this type cloud kind of coming. I'll just show a little bit. I have it there. Looks like we're all kind of putting a kinder, softer voice, bliss, generosity, gentle communication. It's beautiful to see it all coming in. We'll keep adding to it as we go, and turn this over to Deborah for some announcements, and then we're gonna have a meditation with Alexi taking us into our future self and imagining it, and more music from Entheo before we go. And I really want to appreciate that people have been staying with us tonight and staying on the journey with us, because your energy is a big part of what makes this all go. So thank you. Thank you. And Deborah, I know you have a few announcements to share with us tonight.
Yes, thank you, Teresa, and thank you for such a beautiful program. Really wonderful. Thank you, everyone. And with Saturday Night Alive, we take the opportunity to share some things that are blessings during these challenging times, because things are pretty difficult for a lot of people. And then there's some incredible things that are happening, like Saturday Night Live, like Global Global Pulse Convergence and other virtual conferences and other opportunities. So we're going to share a virtual conference that's coming up at the beginning of December. But before that, we do that, I want to share with you a gift I have for you. And this is something that I think may also assist during these very challenging but extremely evolutionary times. And this is a book I wrote called Activate Your Soul Tribe. I wrote this book about 2 years ago. And I think this book is very important now more than ever before, because during this times, a lot of us are feeling disconnected and separated and potentially missing connection. So this book shares with you how to attract and identify and activate your soul tribe. And this grew out of a lifelong passion of finding and connecting my soul tribe and soul family, which was expressed very deeply as I produced the Harmony Festival, which was a major transformational festival offering music, arts, ecology, health, and spiritual resources from 1978 to 2011 in Santa Rosa, California, and drew 30,000 people. And so from this, I really got the experience of soul tribe and soul family. So this book offers you how to develop beneficial and rewarding relationships in all areas of your life, and how to understand and powerfully fulfill your soul contracts with your soul family and soul tribe, and build your ultimate community and support system for a fulfilling life. Because understanding your soul contracts with your soul family and soul tribes gives you the power of awareness to really make more conscious choices in building that soul tribe community. So I offer this book as a free ebook. So this is my gift to you on my website, Activate Your Soul Tribe. And it's also a print book on Amazon. And I suggest you can give this print book to people that you love for Christmas if you're so inspired. So I'm going to put the links in the chat room and on the Facebook on how you can get the free ebook, or order on Amazon and get the print book for yourself or to give away. So my gift to you. And now I'm going to bring on Scott, because we have another incredible virtual conference that he's going to share with you.
Yeah, well, first of all, I want to encourage everybody to get Deborah's book. It's beautiful. And it's interesting that she wrote the book before even knowing that Saturday Night Live would happen and that the pandemic would happen. And here we all are, really finding each other. As we heard earlier tonight, we are the imaginal selves. So I put up a banner for the New Living Expo. I'm sure many of you, at least in the Bay Area, have been to it. It's just been such a regular feature for so many of us, where tribe has come together. And of course, because of the pandemic, after 35 years of being a live show, yep, it's going to be a virtual show. But look at the amazing people that are going to be there. A lot of those people you've seen on Saturday Night Live: Marianne, Michael Beckwith, Daniel Brinkley, Kimberly Meredith, John Gray. They're all friends of ours that have been on our show. And you're going to be able to see them on the weekend of the 5th and the 6th. And it's only $10, $10 to register for both days. And these are just some of the speakers. There are going to be over 50 speakers there. And of course, this show is put on by our good friend, Ken Kaufman. Kenny actually helped Deborah and I to get this show started. So he's someone that will always be special in our hearts. So finally, before turning back over to Teresa, I just want to continue to thank people for donating to Redwood and to Courtney. What a powerful moment listening to Kristen's exquisite music while just dropping into the humanity of their experience. So, and I just want to say also how much I'm appreciating all of the presenters, all the musicians, your wisdom. And isn't it amazing how everybody has like a different angle on this unification, this movement towards oneness, this movement towards creating a new world of peace and harmony. So it's another beautiful show. Thank you, Teresa, who makes it happen. I'm turning it back over to you.
Yeah, thank you so much, you guys. And Deborah, congratulations on your book. I had no idea. I'm so glad you got to share that tonight. And also, like, this is our 9 months, right? So it's beautiful to start having these kind of things be birthed out. So I just really want to celebrate you. And I want to again thank everybody for staying with us, and we're going to do a meditation. This is my partner in Live It Now Productions, and Alexi's part of helping to put together the Global Coherence Pulse and so many other things. And he's going to do a little visioning meditation for us. And then we'll move into some more music with Entheo. And then if you're willing to stay around, we just have a few little gifts for you at the end that might be fun if you want to stay. So Alexi, why don't you come on? Thank you. And I want you guys to know it's Alexi's in Berlin right now. So it's like the middle of the night. I think, I don't know, what is it, like 3 in the morning or something? And you've been
It's 6 in the morning.
6 in the morning.
Yeah.
And Alexi is here with us. And we do little centerings when we have our meetings. And every time Alexi does one, I just find that I drop in so deep, so fast. And so I wanted to invite him to do this because he's often doing all these other things, but we need to give our gifts and we need to have them be received. So Alexi, I'm happy that you're here. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. Let me know if you can hear the sound as well.
Yes, we can hear you.
Great. So let's start by closing our eyes and taking 3 nourishing, satisfying breaths. Really feel grounded and connected. Shake your shoulders and relax a bit. And let it go. Put your left hand on your heart and put your right hand over your left. And in your mind's eye, imagine that you're looking at the Earth from space. And imagine it exactly as you would want it to be. What does it look like from space? Is it green and lush and blue and white and beautiful? Do you see its crown of northern lights? What does our planet look like from a bird's eye view? What color is the water in the oceans? Is the marine line flourishing? What do the rainforests feel like? Are they flourishing and abundant and overflowing with life? What are the animals like? Is the fauna thriving? What sounds do you hear? Do you see the abundant fields of grain? What do they feel like when you brush over the tips with your hand? Breathe in the air. Do you feel how clean it is? What does it smell like? Can you smell the flowers? Or do you smell ripe fruits? Is it honey? The apples from the orchard? How cold is the crystal clear water in the rivers and waterfalls? Does it make you want to drink it because it tastes so good? Do you see skyscrapers of natural gardens and orchards producing different kinds of food? Have we learned to unify our technology with nature? Do our houses grow and adapt to the trees and the plants that are around them? Have we learned to tap into the fabric of space-time for an infinite and clean source of energy? Have we mastered gravity control? Do our cars and cargo ships glide quietly through the air? And have we transformed our streets and roads into orchards and gardens? What about matter creation? How quickly do we materialize our intentions? How do all of our systems work? Our political, our justice system, our social, our economic system? How do we make sure that these systems always function with integrity and transparency? What is our healthcare like? Are people healing themselves with sound? Are they healing with light? What does this technology look like? What do our works of art look like? Our theater? Our film? Do you hear the music? Do you hear the children's laughter? What do their smiles look like? Where are they running off to? What are we learning from our children? How does our education system work? Are kids learning by playing and working together on the most amazing projects? Do we foster kindness, collaboration, and integrity in our children? Do we foster love and respect for our planet, for each other, for all of life? Where is your home? Is it in the mountains near a lake? Is it on a tropical beach by the ocean? Is your home comfortable and spacious and beautifully designed? What smells surround your home? Who comes over all the time and shares and eats the delicious food that you make? Do you live in a community of like-minded and open people? What do the people look like? What are they feeling? Are they smiling? Are they dancing, singing, playing music? What emotions are they experiencing? Are they your close friends, relatives? What does their joy look like? Are you hugging someone? How does that hug feel? What are you feeling? Is there a light breeze? How does the sun feel on your skin? What do you love doing? How does it feel to do what you love? What makes you close your eyes and smile? Who makes you laugh? How does your heart feel? How open are you? Are you living from your heart of hearts? Have we, as humankind, expanded our identity and responsibility? Do we identify with all of humanity, with the earth, with the entirety of existence? How magnificent is the time we're living in? How are we contributing to the evolution of humanity by simply being alive? How are we contributing to the evolution of our planet, of the entire universe? How is our perseverance, our resolve, our intent, our claiming of our divine sovereignty helping us evolve? What is our collective story? And where are we going? What does our future hold? How does it feel to know that this reality, this wonderful world you are creating, is not only possible, but is in fact imminent? Allow this knowing to find a home in your mind. And allow this feeling to find a home in your heart.
was just having that feeling, that knowing finding a place in my mind, and that feeling finding a place in my heart. Beautiful. Thank you, Alexi. Beautiful. And Theo, I'd love to have you guys bring in a song for us. And I just want you to know that the song that was playing in the background of Alexi's guidance of that reimagining ourself was an Entheo song from a new album that they have on their Bandcamp, which I'll put a link in there, called The Great Change. And that was, I think that was Homeward Bound. Is that the one?
Homebound. Yeah.
Homebound. Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you.
Yes, we are homebound. As we find ourselves as these seeds of the earth in the midst of a rebirth. We are the young and the old. And the story's not yet told. We've come from afar, so far, so far. Yes, beyond the stars. And we've come to celebrate everything we are. And so we pray for the end of slavery. We pray for the end of suffering. We pray for the end of all the fighting. Finally, finally, finally. I declare everyone, everywhere, be set free from the fear and the pain and the shame we release. No longer prisoners in our very own minds. No longer struggling and fighting to survive. We revive to find the keys within our reach, and now we thrive, sharing everything we need. We are free from the poverty. We don't believe in scarcity. There's more than enough for you and me, just like the air we breathe in and breathe out those stale emotions that just need some good old-fashioned composting. Yeah, break it back down into earth, 'cause everybody here knows how to have a rebirth. Throw a seed in the mother fertile dirt and watch the life give life, give life, give life, give life, giving life. 'Cause there is only one event here, and it's clear. Once you can hear the one song, some call it the universe. We're all singing the one song. We're all singing the you and I verse. Some call it God, all that is, was, or will ever be. Whatever it is, I know that it's within you and me. So we're gonna party straight into infinity, so you can shout hip hop, hooray, yee-haw, and wee, all at the same time. We shine in the divine mind, which makes all of your struggle and sorrow connected to mine. So bust open those judgments with patience and pour some love and understanding into the painful places, 'cause we're healing it. Yeah, we're gonna decompose our shit. We're gonna rearrange, reintegrate every single way we live by, synergizing new art, making sparks in the dark, with the fire in our heart bursting into who we are. Do you ever feel like you're about to collapse and explode? Well, that's the perfect curve
of the divine ratio.
So fold into the twinings and spiralings of a golden old yet fresh new moment, ready to love and behold. You're like a newborn baby in his grandpa's arms, and the light just arriving from a distant star. It's everywhere we are once we look, even in a simple complex melody and hook called the one song. Some call it the universe. We're all singing the one song. We're all singing the you and I verse. Well, here's the last verse, but it really just keeps on going. And the one thing that never ever stops flowing is awareness. Are you aware of it? It's never left, never will, always full and always still, and it's amazing. Eternally unchanging, holding every single thing we can possibly imagine in our experience, sinking just under the surface as we open these moments up, open these moments up, and dance as much as you can. Trust in the design, it's perfect like you and I. Dance as much as you can. Trust in the divine, it's perfect like you and I. All we're saying is we can say yes. All we're saying is we can say yes to the one song. Say yes to the universe. Say yes to the one song. Or say no. Say yes to the you and I verse. The she-verse, the she-verse, the we-verse, the you-verse, the me-verse, the we-verse. It goes on and on and on and on and on. On and on and on and on and on. On and on and on and on and on. On and on and on and on and on and on and on. Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh,
Oh, you guys.
Thank you so much for having us on. We
And that
love you.
song with Alexi's meditation, they just went together so well.
Yeah, that song, I swear, my future self, just tossed that to me 9 years ago. I was like, here you go. Here, have fun with this.
So beautiful, you guys. Thank you so much. Definitely check out Entheo's Bandcamp. They have tons of great music on there, and everything from acoustic music. They do the background music for much of the Gene Keys work. So if you've heard Richard Rudd and some of the background music for that, and then of course their lyrics are just always so potent for the time. And I want to acknowledge we have gone over tonight. We're like 15 minutes over the time, but I feel like it's been rolling and you're all still here. So that's a super great sign. We did have one more thing I wanted to share with you tonight. And Pete, are you still up for that? And if you guys don't mind sticking around for like another maybe 10 minutes at the most, and then we can close up the day. And what do you say, Pete?
Yeah.
Are you up?
Yeah, shall I?
Good.
Oh, different Pete, sorry.
Oh. Yeah, I would. I'm really stoked to have this opportunity to introduce what the Reimagine the 1% project is. And Luke Cohen spoke earlier about the Renaissance and a period of time where art and culture and creative thinking is literally responsible for ushering us as a society out of the dark ages. I mean, that is, for me, one of the most exquisite and inspiring times in human history, showcasing what is actually possible when we uplift the storytellers and the thought leaders and the artists. And so Reimagine the 1%, you can consider as the modern day Renaissance, because our mission is to uplift the storytellers of our time, because we know that the pictures that they paint, the visions that they hold, are what we need to actively transition out of a world that is fed by fear and into a world that is led by love. And on a more practical sense, you can consider that of like getting out of a problem-based mentality and moving towards solution-orientated persuasions. And I know for me personally that when I get out of my problems and start to focus on my solutions and what could actually happen, something really magical occurs. I start to feel better. I start to feel better. And so reimagine the 1% is an opportunity for you to feel better, an opportunity to take any frustrations that you may be having and put them into forward momentum. And the cool thing about it is, unlike the Renaissance that was funded primarily by one family, at the peak of the 1%, we flipped that script. The whole reimagining of the 1% is about a funding mechanism that is inclusive and accessible to us all. And we do that by simply donating, contributing 1% of our time and 1% of our money. And 1% of our time each week, which just happens to be 100 minutes. You can get your calculator out and figure it out. But with that 100 minutes, we simply invest the time in absorbing stories and media that is uplifting to us. So rather than being in the mass media and the news media that has a different agenda, we actually invest that time and then we share anything that moves us. Simple. And in the 1% of money, we contribute 1% of our monthly income, or 1% of our net profits, or 1% of our company profits. Our net worth, sorry, and our company profits. And I like to think of this, for me personally, as a love tax, because 30% of my money goes into taxes, and I don't know where it goes or what it's actually doing, but now 31% goes into tax, and I wake up every morning knowing that I'm actively participating in uplifting the storytellers of our time, the people that are devoted from moving us from a place that is fed by fear to one that is led by love. And so I want to warmly invite everybody to jump into the website, to go check out what we're doing. It's been an amazing project to be involved with. I'm so lit up by it. And next month, on the 21st of December, we have a soul salon. And if you haven't experienced this, this is the peak of artistry by Jess Magic. And it is an absolute fiesta for the senses. There will be music and improv and good vibes and good stories and cackles. It is just, it's the most fun virtual experience, and I feel so blessed to be a part of those. And so that happens next month, and we invite everybody to click into the website to exchange some details so that we can let you know more about what's going on inside of the Reimagine community. I just really want to thank Teresa for giving us the opportunity to share what we have been so beautifully birthing this year, and in a year where I've certainly dealt with some frustrations and some apathy about not feeling like I'm powerless. And being involved with this project has allowed me to transmute that apathy into action, and I feel better for it. Mm. And you guys can as well.
Thank you, Pete. Thank you. We Reimagine the 1% was our featured partner, so I wanted to make sure that we ended and gave some space for that. And Pete, we had that one video of Nassim, which is the final truth drop, and it's spun up. Scott's got it. People are still here. I think we can go ahead and do that, and then we'll
amazing.
Say goodbye. Scott, do you want to roll that one up? This is a truth drop that he did of Nassim. It's one of my favorites.
Do you realize how close you are from having a seriously bad day? I mean, you're made of 100 trillion cells. Each one is made of 100 trillion atoms. So that's 100 trillion multiplied by 100 trillion. They're all conspiring to make sure that everything is working, that there's no confusion, billions of chemical change every second, 1 million cell division a second. All this is happening in you continuously, and it's not missing a beat. Literally not missing a beat, because if it does, you're having a seriously bad day. And you're on a planet that's spinning in the solar system, that's spinning in a galaxy, that's spinning in a cluster, that's spinning in a supercluster, that's spinning in a universe. And everything is arranged just perfectly. All the mathematical constants are just right, so that the whole universe is conspiring to give you the best day possible.
I loved having a little Nassim at the end. It's so good. We all love
sprinkle.
Nassim. Little sprinkle. Thank you, everyone. Paulette, thank you for staying on and for your beautiful presence. Alexi and Theo, Peter, Deborah, Scott, Kristen. Oh my gosh, I can't believe you're still here with us. Thank you, and everyone that stayed on tonight and for your beautiful love. We need to just keep reimagining this world where we are all connected, because that's what's true, and then choose from that place. And so thank you, Scott, and thank you, Deborah, and thank you, everyone, for a beautiful evening tonight. Let's keep pulsing the field with our heart-centered coherence every moment that we remember to do it, and it will start to be every moment. Yeah.
Thank you, Teresa, again, for just such an amazing job that you did. Thank you so very, very, very much. I want to real quickly share the screen and just remind people about next week. This is our poster for next week, and it's all about the power of community, building trust, and once again, coherence. There's that wonderful word. We thought because it was Thanksgiving weekend that this would be a chance for us to give the Saturday Night Live spin on community, and to share a little bit more about that and to say goodnight. I'm turning it over to my partner, Deborah.
Thank you, Scott. And first of all, big heart share to Teresa. She's amazing. We all love her. Thank you again for such an incredible show. Hopefully she'll come back next season and bring her magic on the next level. So thank you so much. And thank you all the presenters. Amazing, high quality transmissions, and so much love in the space. That's really the bottom line of what we're sharing here. And thank you to my partner, Scott, for continuing on the 33rd show again. So love you all, and I'll turn it back to Scott.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for watching. We still got a lot of people watching us. That's pretty amazing. Want to remind you that tomorrow is there's the start of a new project. It's the Global Peace Tribe Day. Global Peace Pole Day. And I'm going to have the founder, Fumi John Stewart, on my Sacred Sunday show at 10 o'clock in the morning. And then we're only going to be on my show for about 30, 45 minutes. And then at 11 o'clock, she's going to take it over, and Unify is going to carry this wonderful program she put together where we're celebrating that these peace poles are all over the world now. The Dalai Lama has blessed them, and there's a kind of a cool thing that's happening. So check it out. You can either go to Love Coach Academy or Unify on Facebook to watch that tomorrow. Let's all have a beautiful weekend. Thank you again, Teresa, and all your amazing performers and presenters. And here we go into gratitude time as we move into Thanksgiving. We all have so much to give thanks for. And I'm giving thanks for every one of you who's watching, because you're all precious members of this global peace tribe, these imaginal cells. We're all finding each other to create a butterfly out of the dying caterpillar of our old reality and into the new reality.